I've been busting my ass all week, and I've been meaning to put out this epic video exposing the feminist agenda in the Australian government, but I realized that all I had to do was wait till I went and voted early, because they would hand everything to me on a silver platter. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. So you guys know that I like to dig and like to just find all the funny little stuff that's going on. I went and did an early pre-poll vote because I'm busy tomorrow. And I was handed some electoral papers. Now, I know a lot of you guys are in the States, so this isn't really so relevant to you, but there's a lot of you guys in Australia, this is very, very relevant to you. The major parties right now are an absolute fucking shit show. So I'm gonna tell you what I mean. So basically with the federal election, right, we've got above the line voting where you basically number the parties that you want to vote for in order of your preference from 1, which is your most preferred, through to 6, which is your least preferred. You can vote 7, 8, 9, 10, as many as you want, as long as you do a minimum of 6. And likewise, you can vote below the line. So you might have, for example, let's say Independence for Climate Action Now, right? And that is an actual party. So, well, it's a grouping. So you might choose that above the line, and that would be your absolute, basically you're essentially voting for everyone in that grouping. Or you can vote below the line, and you can selectively order people within that party in your order of preference if you want to get a little bit more details. Anyway, man, here we go. So the major parties are Liberal, Labor, and Greens, okay? I'm gonna go through Labor and Greens first, then I'm gonna have a quick look at Liberals. From what I can see, the preferencing for the Liberals isn't too bad in my personal opinion, but I still actually didn't vote for any of these 3 major parties, regardless of my opinion. And I encourage you to not number any of them as one of your preferences. Just leave them completely out, whatsoever. I actually personally voted Australian Better Families First because they're railing against the child support rort, as well as the way that men are getting treated in divorce courts, right? And the anti-male bias with the Duluth model. And I voted for Pauline Hanson One Nation because they believe in meritocracy and merit-based migration. And those are both things that, you know, concern me in terms of a long-term trajectory. And I also voted for Liberal Democrats Party because they're, in my view, quite libertarian. And there's also a green ballot paper, which is the House of Representatives, which you need to vote number every single one to have your vote count. But unfortunately, it's slim pickings for a good party on those. So, you know, I guess we'll see how we go with that. Anyway, let me get right into it because I know the election's tomorrow for most of you guys and you want to know what's going on and get a bit of a lowdown. So let me share this with you. Okay. So I'm going to show you this. So basically, how to vote for Labor, right? It tells you to vote first for Labor and then to put other representatives in whatever number, right? It says vote 1 in the box J, which is Labor, country Labor. And then in box 2, the Greens. Box 3, Animal Justice Party, which is basically all those vegans that were going and stealing all the animals from farmers. Box 4, the Women's Party. I'm going to get onto that shit show in just a second. Box 5, Independence for Climate Change Action Now, which is basically just a bunch of old nutjob feminists. And Help End Marijuana Prohibition Party. So, I mean, look, I don't really have any feelings either way about that, but these ones I take issue with, and they are the most preferenced by the Labor government. And look at this dude. Anyway, let me get on to the Greens now. So this is, if you want to know what's going on with this nut, just Google that name. Actually, no, go to DuckDuckGo.com. Go and search Marine Faruqi on YouTube and watch a few videos of her. See how much of a nut job she is. And now more than ever, we need a Greens voice in the Senate for strong action on climate change and to hold the next government to account. Together we can make sure no one's left behind. Yeah, except straight white men. Let's have a look at this, right? Now, guys, before I show you these here, we all know the shit show that's going on in universities at the moment, right? We all know the shit show that's going on in universities. All these leftists, all these nut jobs, all these feminists, all these absolute libtards, right? And if you're in America and you're a liberal, but you're a more moderate one, I have no issue with that. But it's the radical left libtards that I have a big problem with, because nothing is logical. It's all feelings, all of it. So it's no surprise that most of the radical libtards are women, because feelings. And no disrespect to my female followers who are more logical, because I can appreciate that. But you ladies that are logical know that the majority of females aren't logical. And most of you probably don't like other women that much, because they bitch and attack you. Because that's just what women do to each other. I've seen it so many times, and any woman knows that's true. So let's get on to the next thing. And let's just point this out as well, right? So we know that university degrees, everyone's getting a uni degree these days, so it's basically just a piece of toilet paper. Check this out. World-class education and healthcare. Fully fund our public schools, hospitals, and the NDIS. I mean, that's not such a bad thing. Provide lifelong free TAFE and uni. Okay, so they're basically saying free TAFE and university for every Australian for life. Can you imagine the mass indoctrination that is going to go on if that happens? So for that reason, I did not vote the Greens, nor would I ever. And I encourage all of you who knows anyone that's voting for Greens to tell them that these guys are fucking nut jobs and they should stay away. Now, Bill Shorten is the leader of the Labor Party, right? And he's saying, oh, the Liberal Party only can look after the top end of town. You know, these people that are buying their 5th and 6th investment property. Well, Bill's got like 4, so he has to say 5 or 6. Otherwise, people will be like, if he says 3 or 4, Bill will be like, but Bill, you've got 4. So why are you saying people buying their 3rd or 4th? Because you've already got 4. So he has to say 5 or 6. And then there's another woman in the Labor Party who's got like, I think it's close to about 10. So she's got to say like 13 or 14th property, because then she'll look like a hypocrite. Now, this is an article that was written by Miranda Devine, and if you haven't heard of Miranda Devine, she's actually very intelligent, very balanced journalist in my personal opinion, and she wrote the article that I based my video on female entitlement mentality on, and it is called Women Believe They Live in the Age of Entitlement. Go and search it by Miranda Devine. It is a great article. Better yet still, just go and look at my video on it. But let's go on to this bit, shall we? Shorten wants to be the leader of the free world, but diligent pay penalty. So the diligent people will be basically suffer. Sorry, Bill, but who's paying the bill for all this free stuff? Free dental care for 3 million pensioners and seniors, billions more in childcare subsidies, and who knows how much more spent on a 20% pay rise for childcare workers that Labor can't say how it will deliver. Opposition leader Bill Shorten was a smiling Santa Claus yesterday as he doled out the goodies at a glitzy mini campaign relaunch in Melbourne. I'm holding my phone with my other hand, so I can't do a little. You know what? Fuck it. Let's get my clap on, little. Good on you, Bill. Good on you. What a good guy. What a good guy, Bill Shorten. Not. Oh, by the way, Bill Shorten actually had someone fired that asked him a question about taxation changes. So if he's getting people fired before he's even Prime Minister, just imagine what's going to happen afterwards. Oh, and you know how I mentioned the Greens before? The leader of the Greens, Richard Di Natale, wants to ban and legislate to ban hate speech. And he specifically called out the names of people like Andrew Bolt, Chris Kenny, you know, conservative news commentators. So he basically wants to call all conservative speech, all conservative viewpoints, hate speech, and ban the legislation of it. This is 1984, gentlemen. Here we go. Everyone, here we go. The Labour faithful applauded wildly. Everyone loves a freebie, but most of us know that nothing in life is really free. Ain't that the truth? Someone is paying for it somewhere. Because as Jordan Peterson says, your rights are my responsibility. Technically, that's what they are. Because women's rights are men's responsibility. We're the net taxpayers as a collective. So all this stuff's coming out of our pockets, gentlemen. When government provides, the money comes from the pockets of hard-working, pay-as-you-earn taxpayers who already shoulder the bulk of government spending. What's more, as the sad reign of Kevin Rudd showed, when governments open up a spigot of free cash, out come the rorters and the rent seekers. It's not the most needy who benefit, but those most expert at scamming the system. This is the lesson of socialism. You'd think we would have learned by now, you know, from Venezuela and all those other socialist countries like Nazi Germany, for example, because we all know how much, you know, of a popular bunch of people the Nazis were. And we shouldn't be going around calling people that disagree with us Nazis. You know, it's funny how leftists, they want socialism, but they hate Nazis. But Nazis literally were the German Socialist Workers' Party. Like, this is how dumb and indoctrinated these people are. Anyway, I'll continue with this article because I want to get through this Miranda bit. I don't want this to drag on. I want to get punchy, get to the point, let you guys know what is at stake here for Australia. What's more, as the sad reign of Kevin Rudd shows, the government, Labour is setting up a class divide between those who work hard and aspire to do better for their family and those who sit around complaining the government hasn't done enough for them. That's human nature. The more you get for free, the more you want. You don't value what you haven't earned. Ain't that the truth? 100% that's the truth. The tragedy of Shorten's desire to remake Australia into a socialist paradise is that if all the perks are for those who don't pay tax and all the burdens are on those who earn above $80,000 a year, why would anyone strive to get a better job or take extra shifts like I've been doing all week? After my day shift, I've been going working security, right? I've been working 3 nights this week so far. People aren't mugs. They will cut back their hours, rearrange their affairs, or retire early. Soon there will be no one left to pay for all the free stuff. The money will run out. Now, before I forget, fantastic article by the way. Before I forget, I'm going to get onto the Women's Party because I did mention that was a bit of a shit show. And I'm also going to talk about the person who founded the Women's Party, who incidentally is one of the 2 candidates below the line on the Australian ballot paper for the federal level. This is Divi Devendra, the transgender founder of the Women's Party. This is the founder of the Women's Party. They had one job, to get a woman to found the Women's Party, and a man still did it. So let me go to the Women's Party page. The Women's Party is a political movement to primarily attain an equal representation of women in our federal and state parliaments, to empower women and to select and endorse candidates so that we may have an equal input and say in decision-making processes and management of our nation. Now, that sounds like a pretty noble goal, and I get where they're coming from. Even though men are fucking white knights from birth until we take the red pill and learn that we're not going to keep sacrificing ourselves. So, I mean, men have been voting with women's best interest at heart largely for the best part of civilization. So, just saying, or at least what they perceive to be the best interests of women. People are going to disagree with me on that. Totally respect your right to disagree with me on that. But that's just my personal opinion on it. Now, Malcolm Turnbull, our ousted Liberal Prime Minister, of the current Liberal term, which is about to end and potentially be renewed or ended by another party getting elected, hopefully not the Labour Party. So I'm going to quickly get on to the Labour Party's preferences, which I actually also put in the thumbnail of this video. Here we go. So, step 1, place Labour number 1. Wait, did I do this before? Here we go. The Greens, Animal Justice Party. No, I did that already. Sorry. I really should have. I'm gonna need to fucking unscrumple this because I chucked out the wrong one. Can't make this shit up, right? Here we go. So yeah, this is the preferences I showed you before were the preferences of Labour. Now I did show you that the first preference of Labour was the Greens. Who is this nut job? Who was the one that wants to give free indoctrination and has this crazy nutter as their Senate representative? So let's check this out, right? This is the Greens, right? Vote 1, the Greens. Vote 2, Independents for Climate Action Now. 3, Socialist Alliance. 4, Animal Justice Party. 5, Pirate Party. And 6, Labour. So these guys are literally putting Labour absolute last in exchange for Labour putting them second. But Socialist Alliance? Really? And like, do they expect to be taken seriously? This is the kind of crap that you can expect from these nutters. And the Greens was the same party. You know Sarah Hanson-Young? The ones who was like, men? What did she say? Let me quote this directly. It is not women's fault that men cannot control themselves and behave like morons and pigs. That's literally exactly what Sarah Hanson-Young said. She called us men, morons and pigs. So fuck you, Sarah Hanson-Young, and fuck you, Greens. Let me re-scrumple this. And while I'm at it, have a quick look at the Liberal Party. So just to give you a bit of an idea about the preferences for the Liberal Party, Liberal and Nationals. Second is United Australia Party. I believe that's Clive Palmer, if I'm not mistaken. Christian Democrat Party, Fred Nile Group. Liberal Democrats, Small Business Party, and Australian Conservatives. So, I mean, if you're going to vote for one of the three major parties, if I had no choice but to vote for one of the major parties, it would be Liberals. Look, please, guys, I'm not telling you to vote for the Liberal Party, right? Liberal Democrats, I think, are a great party. Liberal Party, that's the LNP, not so much. I don't really trust Clive Palmer. He's got a lot of self-interests to serve, and we want to really get rid of a lot of the corruption. Anyway. And by the way, guys, Democrats in the Liberal Democrats in the Australian sense of the word is not like the American Democrats. It's quite different. They're a libertarian party. Anyway, look, let me not go into that any further. I've had my say on those three. So now let me just show you a couple of little deep dives that I've done. Now, Malcolm Turnbull was the ex-Prime Minister of the Liberal Party, whose term is just about to finish. And Bill Shorten is the leader of the Labour Party, who is proposing massive taxes and leftist indoctrination in schools with the Safe Schools LGBT program, etc. No disrespect to anyone who's LGBT, but I just don't want that being taught to 3, 4, and 5-year-olds and basically kids who haven't yet formed their view of the world properly, right? Sure, teach to respect other people, but don't force it down their throats. Let's get into this. Now, some of you may or may not have heard of Our Watch, and New South Wales in the last couple of weeks has just been the last state to sign up to Our Watch. Our Watch is basically a they're an organization, and their blurb is, Our watch has been established to drive nationwide change in the culture. Let's just skip. Anyway, look, it's basically end violence against women and their children. That's what Our Watch is all about. End violence against women and their children. Right? Let me read a quick few little snippets off there. So, facts and figures. Let's get some facts because, you know, facts are always more important than feelings. Let's check this out, shall we? Oh, here we go. Facts. Violence against women is now recognized to be a serious and widespread problem in Australia, with enormous individual and community impacts and social costs. However, this significant social problem is also ultimately preventable. But to prevent violence against women, we need to first understand it. Get informed. On average, 1 woman a week is murdered by her current or former partner. 1 in 3 Australian women have experienced physical violence since the age of 15. Of course, there's not one single stat against shit that's happened to men, even though it's pretty close to what's happened to women, and probably equal to, if not greater than what's happened to women, because men are far less likely to report, as we know, as men. 1 in 4 Australian women's experienced emotional abuse. Women are more than twice as likely as men to have experienced fear or anxiety due to violence from a former partner. Young women experience significantly higher rates. You get the gist. Let's go to understanding violence. Oh yes. Myths about violence and facts and figures. Violence against women, more facts and figures, more myths. Preventing violence. How can we prevent violence? If you're... Men have an important... Here we go. Men have an important role to play in ending violence against women and their children. Tell me more. What role do men have to play? Because men are more likely to experience violence from other men in public places, but the vast majority of domestic or family violence and sexual abuse is perpetrated by men against women. Some people say that this sort of violence is none of their business, but because it happens in private. But, you know, basically men need to stop other men from being violent against women. Violence against women is serious and prevalent. It's primarily driven by gender inequality, or reinforced or exacerbated by a number of other factors. Gender inequality provides the underlying social conditions for violence against women. So it's pretty clear. Look, you guys, I don't even need to read through this. You guys can go and check it out yourself, ourwatch.org.au. But you guys know from the get-go, from this dribble, here we go, condoning of violence against women. For example, the idea that it's excusable for men to use violence in certain circumstances, that they cannot always be held responsible, or that some kinds of violence, such as sexual harassment, are not serious. This is all feminist dribble. Our Watch is a government-funded feminist organization. Now, have you ever heard that saying, she's got him by the balls? Usually referring to the testicular strangle, metaphorically and sometimes literal, that wives have on their husbands, right? I did a little bit more digging, and I found the patrons and ambassadors of Our Watch. Let me have a look at a couple of these ambassadors, because I'm curious to see if there's anyone that I know in there. Oh, there we go. Chloe Shorten, Bill Shorten's wife. You know Bill Shorten, the leader of the Labour Party? Bill Shorten, the leader of the party that preferences the Greens, Animal Justice Party, which is basically vegan retards, and the Women's Party, which is basically a feminist party started by a man. You know, that party. And, oh look, we also have Lucy Turnbull, the wife of Malcolm Turnbull, the now ousted ex-leader of the Liberal Party, the Liberal National Party. You know the one? That same Malcolm Turnbull that said, I would describe myself as a feminist. Women hold up half the sky. like, oh, please, feminist overlords. Is that okay? Like, did I do a good job at saying that I'm a feminist? You little cuckold. So, let's do some more digging, shall we? Because I'm having fun here exposing this feminist virus in Australian politics. Here we go. Chloe Shorten, what does it say? Passionate advocate for equality. This is on chloeshorten.com. Let's find this article that I busted her. Here we go. This was on March 8th last year. Chloe calls on men to join the next wave of feminism on International Women's Day 2018. This is the wife of the leader of the Labour Party who is throwing free shit at everyone. You think she doesn't have his balls in a fucking vice with a razor up against it? So if he moves just a little bit to the right, his balls are going to get completely chopped off? And she won't be held accountable because Duluth model and because violence against women? And then, right, as if that's not as dishonest enough, we all know about Erin Pizzey, right? First person to set up a women's and a men's shelter, right? And correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's my understanding. And I've done a lot of watching of Erin stuff, so I can only go off what she's said. But Erin Pizzey originally had White Ribbon website, and they commandeered it. So she's now got Honest Ribbon, if you want to go check that out. But Erin Pizzey talked about how violent women could be towards their children and how intergenerational violence continues, and a lot of women are violent towards their kids and their husbands, and especially other women. She found that there's a huge amount of violence within the women's shelter against other women. And Chloe Shorten has written this thing, Why I Feel So Strongly About Family Violence. Now, pretty much almost every single article or fact sheet that she referenced and hyperlinked in this article has this message. Where is it? Oh, that's right. Page not found. Let's click on another hyperlink that she shared to give her article credibility. Where is it? Erin Pizzey's book. There we go. 404. Page not found. How convenient, Chloe Shorten. Now that's erinpizzey.com. And I was like, I follow Erin Pizzey online, and I've never seen her share anything from erinpizzey.com. It's usually from Honest Ribbon or from another website. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have a look a bit deeper. I'm not just gonna go to that hyperlink and go, oh well, the hyperlink doesn't work, so must be just an old link, right? And I cut off /books at the end. So I went to erinpizzey.com. I just deleted the last little bit after the /. And look what I found. It's just a bullshit blog site that no doubt Chloe Shorten has actually started up. And it's just got slot game reviews. This is not Erin Pizzey's website, you lying fucking piece of shit, Chloe. You lying sack of shit. That's the wife of the Labour leader. This is how dishonest she's being. Right? And where else? There was other... Oh yeah, here we go. And this is the second paragraph of this article. A time when activists across the globe were fighting to change a community perception that was centered around shame, a perception that is best captured by the title of Erin Pizzey's book, Scream Quietly or the Neighbors Will Hear. As if Erin Pizzey was writing books about feminist propaganda, right? As if Erin Pizzey was parroting the same shit that these feminists parrot. You are a liar, Chloe Shorty. Shorty. Same shit. Now, this bit's really interesting. Why I feel so strongly about family violence. And is this the same one? Because there was one other thing that I saw where she actually... oh, here we go. Here, Dribble. The biggest risk factor for being a... risk factor for being a victim of family violence is being a woman. And you know, Clementine Ford actually said, it's very convenient to keep women afraid because it makes them easier to control. I have to say that that is probably one of the most profound things I've ever seen Clementine Ford say. Speaking of Clementine, let me get back to Clementine in just a moment. Here we go. I think this is what I'm looking for here. So Chloe actually acknowledged, here we go. This is under her thing, can we stop family violence in my lifetime? Well, let's see. Gender inequality must be redressed. This is what Chloe Shorten's saying. We know that children exposed to violence are more likely to become perpetrators than those who have not witnessed it. Their behavior is learned. And of course there are power imbalances that result from cultural and social norms. In families and groups where strong patriarchies exist, or men dominate physically, economically, and politically over women and children, those women and their children are at greater risk. Right? Today's gender equality is maintained and perpetuated through attitudes, hierarchies, policies, legislation, and institutional and organizational structures, meaning economic, social, and political power is not evenly distributed. So what she's saying is she wants economic power to be evenly distributed, aka money from men to be given to women because vagina, right? This shit is just incredible. Let me go to her main homepage here. I think you're gonna find this very, very interesting. Where was it? Because you guys are gonna laugh seriously when I tell you the name of Chloe Shorten's kids. And look, I'm not doxing them, right? I'm not telling you where they live. I'm not giving their email addresses or phone numbers. This is just public knowledge, right? This is actually out there in the public domain. It's not hidden from anyone. Here we go. Chloe Shorten, 3 children. Personal life. Oh, come on, Chloe. Oh, here we go. Chloe Shorten and Jenny Morrison are 2 very different. They have a 3rd child together. Clementine. So one of Bill Shorten's kids is named, here we go. Chloe Shorten on parenting, feminism, and awkward FaceTimes. In the run-up to the May 18 election, that's the one tomorrow, Miss Shorten has given what is expected to be her only interview to Nine's Future Women platform, saying should her husband become Prime Minister, she will use her visibility to promote feminist causes, including efforts to reduce violence against women. Oh, I found the best bit! Here we go. I have 2 daughters and I want my son to become a man for others. That means seeing things through a different lens to a generation ago. She said she was baffled that more conservative women did not identify as feminists. It beggars belief, she said. My dad is a feminist. My brothers are all feminists. My husband, Bill, is a feminist. There you go. So the leader of the Labour Party is a feminist. And his balls are in his wife's purse. Here we go. Mr. Shorten, a former Queensland-based marketing executive, said she keeps herself and her Mooney Ponds family, the Shorten's daughter Clementine, 9, as well as her 2 children from her first marriage, Rupert and Georgette, focused on the short time. So she's been divorced. She's divorce raped someone before, and Bill is her 2nd marriage, and he's a male feminist, right? And he's been accused recently of sexually assaulting someone years ago. And the only child that Bill Shorten and Chloe Shorten have together, Chloe Shorten, the ambassador of Our Watch, is called Clementine. Now, if that is not being completely cucked, I don't know what is. Anyway, I hope this has been entertaining and informative for you guys. And I just want to give a massive shout out to all of you in the box. Please, seriously guys, if you know anyone in Australia, share this with every single person that you know in Australia who's going to be voting tomorrow, which is everyone, because voting in Australia is compulsory. They need to know that a vote for Labor or the Greens or even the fucking Liberal Party is a vote for feminists. K to the Swiss says, finally caught you live. Now I have to remind and catch the start. Keep putting the truth out there, Sydney. Thank you, brother. Thank you, K to the Swiss, and I assure you you'll enjoy the start of this video. And there was a couple of other donations as well. I just want to say thank you to you guys. We had Name Withheld says, wives have their husbands' balls by their nightstand. All husbands I talk to are scared to make their wives upset. Exactly, because it's too much of a headache. And Riff Magos says, Sydney's Truth Bomb Fund, $5. 100% Riff. I will keep dropping the truth bombs, and I appreciate the donation, brother. Horatius Cockleys, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, says, finally catching you live, mate. Have a schooner on me. You know what? I just might do that. I just might. Brothers, I appreciate you more than you know. I hope this has been informative for you and giving you some of the knowledge that you need. Now, look, there's a bunch of other parties out there. There's the conservative, more right-leaning parties. Some of them are fairly hard right. Some of them are moderate right. I don't know. I don't know who that is. Someone's calling out. There's United Australia Party. There's, I think, Great Australia Party. There's Fraser Anning. There's Australian Conservatives. There's Christian Democrat Party. There's Pauline Hanson, One Nation. Please don't forget them. Very important. And if you care about child support reform, and if you also care about the family law being overhauled, I strongly recommend throwing in a vote for Australian Brotherhood. Australian Better Families, the ABF party. They will be a very powerful voice for reform and fairness for us men. I really want to, like, this is our time to fight back against the feminists, guys. Make sure, I'm actually going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop a link on my community tab in the next 10 minutes, and it's going to be of a photo of the entire ballot paper for the Australian Senate. So you guys can do your research tonight. You can look up all of the different options. You can look at the different parties and know who you're going to completely ignore or put dead last and who you're actually going to put in. So even if there's a Conservative Party that you're like, oh yeah, I wouldn't normally vote for them, but the policies seem all right. Like, I don't, have any issues, and they seem half decent. If they're a Conservative Party, I reckon just go for the Conservative parties, get as many of them as you can in, and we'll go for that. So I'm going to drop that link to that file in my cloud storage below this video, and it's going to be active until the end of the day tomorrow, so you guys can do your research and make your own decisions. All I'm going to say is don't vote for any of the three major parties, Liberal, Labor and Greens. They're all feminist parties. The rest of them, however, I'll let you make your own decisions on that. It's not my place to say which party I think you should vote for past that, but just know that a vote for the three major parties is a vote for a feminist party. So vote for them if you want, but I've exposed them. Do with that information what you will. Guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate you all. Please make your vote count tomorrow. Please have your voice heard. Please make sure that you do the men of Australia proud, and also the conservative women of Australia, right? Because, and look, I know, right? I'm not, look, I'm an egalitarian kind of guy, right? Make sure you use a pen as well, guys. Take a pen with you. Make sure that it is all indelible ink. It is permanent. It cannot be rubbed out or changed, because they can give you pencils, and if they give you pencils, it can be changed. Anyway, I'm not going to waffle on anymore. I hope this has been informative and entertaining. I appreciate you guys. Please smash smash the thumbs up. Please leave a comment. If you want to donate, guys, paypal.me/SydneyMGTOW and patreon.com/SydneyMGTOW, and hopefully subscribestar.com/SydneyMGTOW has been fixed up now if you've previously tried to join up there but haven't been able to. I did some things on that on the weekend, so email me and let me know if that is still being an issue for you or if it worked okay. Guys, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell next to it if you haven't done so already. I'm about to drop that link in the description below. Appreciate you all. Peace and good luck. Godspeed tomorrow. Thank you.